Going live now. Checking in. That countdown timer is wrong. Let's see if we're live here. Hello, everybody. Becca here with Mariah. Let's see if we can get this going online. If my own links will work. I'm getting a thumbs up already. We've got 13 people in. Fantastic. I am using Ecamm right now, but Mariah was just talking to me about StreamYard. We might have to get that going one of these days because Ecamm is tricky. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That sounds really helpful. I literally have one, two, three, four, five, six. I have 7 screens open on my computer right now, everybody. That's a lot of screens, even for somebody who loves caffeine as much as I do. That's a lot of screens. I feel like it. I know. I totally feel like it right now. Well, thank you everybody for joining us live. This is exciting. I'm going to pull this open on one of my tabs over here just so I can keep up to date on the chat. Hop into the chat and let us know if you can hear me. I'm trying to set this up so my speaker and microphone are close together. So please let me know in the chat. Can you hear what's going on? Are we good? Up in Ecamm, but we're not going to try to do 18 different things today. We're going to stick to 2 of them. All right, I'm getting a thumbs up. I think that means we're good. All right, live chat is going. Robin says they can't hear Mariah. Mariah, can you give us a little, say something fun? That's perfect. How was that, Robin? Can we hear her now? Can we hear her now? Okay. Let's see here. Still got a nope. All right, try it for me one more time.
Okay, what's up? And we're just repeating words to test, and hopefully it's all good.
I will be able to edit this out of the replay. How was that one, Robin? Oh, Corey says they still can't hear you. Well, gosh dang it. That's not good. Let's see. Thank you for bearing with us here. All right, we're gonna try one more. My microphone is going through. Okay, all right, we're getting yes. Okay, I fixed the microphone. We're good. Fun fact, echo cancellation means it's gonna cancel you from talking over my microphone. But we're fixed.
Oh,
Yay.
really?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Do we want to test? Everybody can hear what
Okay.
you're hearing?
I'm getting 2 thumbs up. Robin, Corey, they can hear you now. We're good. Thank you everyone so much. We'll try to edit that out of the replay, but it's still 9:59. We haven't started yet. We're okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you jumping in the chat to help out with that. That is so helpful for folks like me. I happen to be a Squarespace expert, but not exactly an Ecamm expert, if you can't tell.
Or like a live video on YouTube. There's so many things that you have to play with when you're like messing around with these functionalities. Truly.
So many. Oh my gosh. And that brings me to why Mariah is here with us today. I have been working in SEO for over a decade. You guys know I'm the Squarespace go-to person, but when it comes to all the changes that have been happening lately and what's going on with AI and algorithm updates, I ended up meeting Promise through 2 of my favorite Squarespace connections, Phil Palin, I said Promise, didn't I? I ended up meeting Mariah through Promise, which is where that came from. But Promise Tangeman from Go Live had nothing but good things to say about working with Mariah, and so did Phil Palin. So she and I got to meet, and I realized she had so much to share about SEO specifically for Squarespace that I had to bring her on to talk to everybody. So that's why we're here today, but my countdown timer ran out. Let's get started, shall we? Are we ready?
We are ready. We are ready. I'm so excited to talk about this.
I am too. Awesome. Okay, here we go. Thank you everyone for joining us today for Squarespace SEO Secrets live with myself, Becca Harpain, and Mariah. So today's live chat, I have to do this legal stuff right out of the gate. The term Squarespace is a trademark of Squarespace Incorporated. This content is not affiliated with Squarespace Incorporated. They're not paying us to hang out here and tell you how awesome Squarespace is. It's just what we like to do. And the accuracy of information in this content is subject to change. Neither Mariah nor I work for Google, so we have no idea what that algorithm's going to do tomorrow, but this is information that we've got today that we wanted to share with you. So that's why we're here. All right, so we've got the live chat going. Shout out to Robin and Corey for hopping in there and helping us tech support troubleshoot the audio today. Please feel free to use that live chat as we're working today. we've got content to share in a presentation, but this is a workshop, which means we're going to workshop stuff together. If you have questions about anything that either one of us are saying while we're talking, pop it into the chat. I'm going to be monitoring that, and I'll be sharing those questions here so we can answer them live. We set aside a good 10-15 minutes at the end of our presentation here just to help you out with any SEO questions you have. So honest to goodness, if you hopped in here with an SEO question ready to go, type it in the chat now. We will address it later, okay? Okay, everybody's ready. Okay? We're going to do a little overview of SEO in 2024. Mariah has some common SEO mistakes to share. We're going to talk about what you can do literally today to make a difference in your SEO, and I mean like right now. Then we're going to talk about where you can learn more, because as one of my slides will share here, it is an ongoing process. SEO does not happen overnight. So we're going to talk about where you can find more resources, and of course, Q&A time. All right? All right, so quick heads up, who am I? I'm pretty sure you know who I am if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, but I'm Becca Harpain, Squarespace expert and educator and founder of InsideTheSquare.co. I like to start describing myself as a Squarespace enthusiast. Like, how many SE things can I get in my title here? Squarespace expert, Squarespace educator, Squarespace enthusiast. That's me. And this, joining me above me on the screen here, is Mariah. She's an SEO strategist and educator, search engine optimization expert. And like I shared just before we hopped in here to start the presentation, I was connected to Mariah through Promise Tangent from Go Live HQ and Phil Palin of Phil Palin Creative, or Phil Palin Co., I think is his official name these days, two of my most trusted Squarespace supporters, and they recommended Mariah to me. And when we had our first call, my immediate thought was, okay, my audience needs to meet her. So that's why she's here on my YouTube channel today. But I will let the caffeine that I'm chugging right now calm me down a little bit. Go ahead, Mariah, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So yes, as Becca said, I'm an SEO consultant and online business educator, which I feel like is why we really connect really well, is because like that education space. So basically, I'm a firm believer that showing up on Google, increasing your visibility, and growing your business doesn't have to be as difficult and as overwhelming as everybody makes it. So I am going on 9 years in business, 9 years of experience as an entrepreneur in the online and digital marketing space. In that time, I've been able to help hundreds of clients and students get their websites found on Google by implementing a strategy that feels both doable and aligned, because we need both of them, all of them. And then a piece that I really enjoy doing is educating on SEO, the foundations, what actually matters, and breaking it down. Because when I got into this space, there wasn't a lot of information for like small business owners or for like people trying to DIY it. I usually found that there was a lot of SEO information for advanced SEO people talking to other advanced SEO people working on like massive corporate websites in which need an advanced SEO strategy, but like the rest of us kind of don't need that as advanced SEO strategy. And then the other piece that I found was that a lot of the content also created about SEO was created by SEO agencies trying to overwhelm you or be vague so that you just hired them on retainer for their services. And so I'm not anti-agency or anything like that. I think working with the right agency is really fantastic if you like don't want to think about this stuff at all and you really just want to hand it off to people. But what I really like is consulting and educating on it, breaking it down in a way that actually makes sense, and helping people realize that like SEO isn't about perfection. It's about infusing SEO friendly habits into the things that you're already doing. So it's the education piece, and like doing Q&As and like workshops like this, it's literally my favorite.
I love that. I love infusing SEO into what you're already doing. It's just one of those pillars that's going to support any small business and any website. And I think that is so, so important, Mariah. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Well, I'm excited. We have one question here just to kind of get the chat going. I was curious because when it comes to my audience, about half of the people that are my subscribers that are interested in my content are working on their own Squarespace websites, and the other half of them are working on websites for other people. So this can kind of help us tailor the content of what we're going to share today a little bit more. So let me know in the chat if you're here because you want to rank higher in search for your own Squarespace website, or if you want to rank higher in search for your clients. So let me know in the chat over there. I think we've got some people coming through already. Awesome. All right, I'm seeing quite a few. Okay, we're getting a mix, A's and B's. We've got A and we've got B. Okay, we're just going to cover both today, your own website and other people's websites. All right, and I did see one more comment that your audio is just quiet and tiny, so I'm going to turn you up, and I apologize to the other people that are in this shared office space I'm in right now. We're going to hear you loud and clear, Mariah, loud and clear.
Okay, lovely.
Okay.
Hopefully I'm not too loud. My inflection can kind of increase a little bit when I'm talking about
You're
SEO.
good. I'll try to fix this post-production for our site here. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's keep going. We've got some good stuff to cover here. This one is a slide that I honestly am most excited about here in the very beginning. Not just what is SEO and how it works, but the factoring in 2024 strategies and how AI works into all of this. I want you to just ramble on this one for us, Mariah. Give us just a 30,000 foot overview of SEO right now in 2024. What is it? How does it work? And how does this strategy really fit into our marketing right now?
Yeah, it's funny because what SEO is, why it's important, how it works, to be honest, that hasn't changed very much. So it's SEO stands for search engine optimization. Basically, it means that your website is optimized to show up in search results like Google. I say like Google because when you optimize your website for search engines, those results can trickle into all of the other search engines. Us SEO people, we just hyper focus on Google because they have the biggest market share as of right now. With AI, that might change, but still, as of right now, Google is top dog in the space. So SEO helps you get free and organic traffic from those search results on search engines. This is compared to paid ads. So paid ads, we've all seen them. We have all accidentally clicked on them before. It usually says ad or sponsored in the top by the thing. And so those paid ads that you see at the top are usually clicked less than 25% of the time on average.
Interesting.
Depending on the industry. So 75% of the clicks are happening on organic search results. The industry that I know has more ad clicks is lawyers. And I think that's because when you need a lawyer, you don't really care if you're clicking on an app. Right. You kind of just need a solution. So it's situations like that. But I think that the reason for that is because we've kind of been trained to not click on ads. How many times have we clicked on an ad and then we're taken to a website that's not the best solution to our problem? So I think as users, we're kind of used to scrolling past some of the ads. Other times they're a perfect fit, but a lot of the times they're not. It's the same thing with Google ad or Facebook ads too. You can tell when something pops up, or on Instagram, you can tell when something pops up in your feed that isn't usually supposed to be there. And a lot of the times we'll just scroll past it. So SEO is different than Google Ads. It's not the same thing. That's an important distinction. And so why is SEO important? It's because your audience is already looking for the solutions that you offer. SEO is how we get Google to recommend you and your website as that solution. And then in terms of marketing, it's one of the only website traffic strategies that gives you long-term results. So if we compare this to social media or paid ads on any platform, when you stop paying or you stop engaging, you lose traffic. SEO, on the other hand, continues to build on itself if you do it correctly. So I know that a lot of people freak out about the algorithm and the algorithm is always changing and stuff like that. But to be honest, the foundations of SEO really haven't shifted that much. And I think that you've seen the same thing with your website and your content and stuff like that. And obviously there's always things we can go in, we can tweak and we can test, but the foundations really are a lot more sustainable than people think. And so how search works is basically Google has these little robots that go through and crawl the web, and they take note of websites and the pages that are on websites. So they scan a page and they try to get an idea of what is the main idea of this page so that it can put it into Google's index. All Google's index is a really big filing cabinet. And so when you search Google, it's Google goes into the filing cabinet to try to pick out and show you the results that it thinks best matched what you searched for. So if we're breaking SEO down, the things that connect your pages on your website with Google search results, they're keywords. That's why you hear in the SEO industry, everybody talking about keywords and stuff like that. And so in 2024, what I think is shifting is that user intent is even more important now than ever. So before, I feel you could maybe target a keyword copywriting tips. Okay, you could target a keyword, and that keyword, it's a little vague. We're copywriter. So it's a little vague. It's we're trying to target that keyword, but we don't understand that keyword enough to be the best solution to the problem. And if I were to break SEO down, it's to get on page 1, you have to be the best solution to the problem, and you have to portray that you're the best solution to the problem to Google. You could be like the best solution to the problem, you know that you're the best solution, but like Google also has to pick up on those clues that that's the case. And so user intent really matters. It's like, that's why long tail keywords are really, really important, because long tail keywords are like, they usually have 3 or more words connected to them. So a seed keyword is a keyword that has 1 to 2 words. So it's copywriter tips. Those are seed keywords.
Okay.
Long tail keywords are like copywriting tips for my about page. That's a long tail keyword. And also, if we're trying to get on the page 1 of Google, it's way easier to understand the problem, therefore being the best solution to the problem, for something that's more long tail, like best copywriting tips for about page. You know what that person's looking for. But like copywriter, well, what are they looking for if they type that in? Do they want to find a copywriter? Do they want a copywriting job? Do they want to hire a copywriter? Do they want copywriting tips? Do they want a copywriting course? Like, we don't know. And so user intent is becoming increasingly more important, because I'm sure that most people, especially in the US, have noticed that AI generated search results are starting to pop up and to populate on here.
Yeah.
They're populating a lot more on educational and informational posts.
Interesting.
They're not as common in terms of e-commerce and service-based local solutions or service-based solutions. It's more like that definition, what is type content that AI is like, because AI's whole thing is like, it wants to give you an overview, but it also wants to be neutral.
Right.
So what's the easiest kind of content to be neutral on? Informational and educational content, right? Like the super basics. And so AI, Google has said that it's trying to keep the AI generated results to be neutral. Okay, well, in certain things, like if I literally had to Google, like, how long does it take to boil an egg? I don't really care who tells me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like me clicking over to a blogger who created this massive post about boiling eggs, and they have a pop-up that's trying to get me to download their recipe ebook. I wasn't going to download the recipe ebook anyways. Yeah. I just wanted to know how long it takes to boil an egg. So like everybody's freaking out about the AI generated things, but like it's also replacing content that, to be honest, I don't think was driving a lot of conversions anyways, because it was so top of the funnel. So like user intent, like finding keywords that are more transactional, more commercial, that are more aligned with services, that are really specific, and infusing your personality into the content is just going to make a world of a difference.
I love it. I love all of this so much. And I feel like we really need to pull out this soundbite of explaining that good SEO is demonstrating that you're the solution to the problem in a way that Google will understand. Like, I think that's it too. It's like you can tell this to as many humans as you want to, but unless Google can comprehend that from what you're creating, it's not going to work. I love that so much. And especially the aspect of what AI is doing for facts versus finding things that you need to have an opinion for, like your hard-boiled egg example, right? Like that's going to be a specific fact that you can get that information for. Now, what is the best deviled egg that you could create? Like finding that recipe, that's going to be a little bit more user opinion, if you will, versus actual fact. And I think that's such an interesting approach. All right, I'm going to
There's one more example that I think is really, really helpful when you're thinking about AI. So, for example, if you were planning a trip to Disney World, would you care what AI said in terms of your itinerary for planning a trip to Disney World? Probably not, because AI has never been to Disney World, like let's say with 2 kids under the age of 5. So what you're going to do is probably want like a parent or a mom or a dad, like a whoever blogger that has been to Disney World before and can give you real life examples, perspective, and tips that it's just not going to land the same with AI.
You know what? I'm going to pull this all the way back to what you were talking about, having the very specific long tail key phrase. Like the seed keyword might be planning a trip to Disney World, but the long one could be planning a trip to Disney World with 2 kids under 5. Like that is the long tail keyword solution that your problem that you're solving here with your content. I love that example, Mariah. That's so perfect. All right, I see the chat going here. Some people are really appreciating those examples too. That's awesome.
Okay, cool.
All right, so we have have another slide up here where I wanted you to talk about some of the common SEO mistakes that people are making. These are some beginner mistakes that you can absolutely fix if you set aside some time to do it, like today. That's what we're talking about, is SEO solutions we can work on today. So out of these common SEO mistakes, we're going to dig into each one of these, but let me know in the comments as you're looking at this content here and listening to our conversation, which one of these is really eye-opening for you. Which one haven't you done yet? We might have some tutorials on the side, wink wink, I am the tutorial queen here, that I can share with you if you need some help setting up these common SEO mistakes or correcting them on your Squarespace site. But we'll go ahead and jump right in, Mariah, if you want to take it away with mistake number one.
Okay, so mistake number one is not setting up free Google tools. So the Google tool that a lot of people are usually most familiar with is Google Analytics. Google Analytics is an amazing free tool created by Google for website owners like us to be able to understand our website traffic. Where are people coming from? Are they coming from social, organic video, organic search? Which platform are they coming from? How long are they spending on our page? Are they converting? Are they checking out if you're in e-commerce? And all of these other really helpful marketing insights. Okay, so that's Google Analytics. The other one that pairs well with Google Analytics, but a lot of people don't know about, is Google Search Console. Okay, so Google Search Console is basically how Google sees your website. So when you set up a free Google Search Console account, you're able to see what keywords you're already showing up on Google for. You're allowed to see if there's any errors or any big things that Google is flagging on your website. You're allowed to submit, like dive into pages. Has this page been found on Google yet? Is it in the index, aka the big filing cabinet, and all of that stuff. So these two tools kind of work together. They're separate and like they're separate dashboards, but Google Analytics, the reason why this is really important for SEO, it's because engagement metrics matter, user experience metrics matter. Google judges your website in over 200 factors. So remember the example when I was like, you're basically, the keywords are what puts you in the right section of the filing cabinet. Okay, cool. But then Google judges your website in over 200 factors to see, where are you in the filing cabinet? Are you towards the back, never to be found again, collected in like a sea of dust? Or are you in the front, like on page one, and you're getting pulled out of the filing cabinet a whole lot? So a lot of the things that Google judges a website on relate to user experience, and Google Analytics is how we're able to see that a little clearer instead of shooting in the dark there. Okay. So I just wanted to explain why Google Analytics actually makes sense for SEO. And so those two for sure. And then the third one is going to be your Google business profile. So this is only for our local business owners. Okay. So if you have like a dry cleaners, if you're a bowling alley, a coffee shop, a restaurant, like you have a location where people can visit, you're eligible for a Google business profile, which all of these options are free, like I mentioned on the slide here. And so the other option is, like, I have a client who's an interior designer. She doesn't have an office that people can visit, but she offers services on site for clients locally. So she is still eligible for a Google business profile. Awesome. So that's the third one. The people that aren't allowed to have it are like e-commerce shops, drop shipping. Okay,
so like me, I wouldn't be able to have one.
Unless you meet clients on site to like do workshops and tutorials and trainings.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So like there is like kind of a fine line. If you're not sure where you fall, you can just Google it, and the AI generated search result will probably tell you if you're eligible or not, or it'll give you like the updated list of like businesses that are and are not eligible.
Perfect. And I want to interject too, talking about the very first one on the slide here, Google Analytics. Yes, Squarespace does have an analytics feature, but it is not nearly robust enough to get the kind of information that you need for improving your search engine optimization results here, or improving your rank on search engines. Squarespace Analytics is available, it is free, and it does give you some information, but I strongly recommend installing Google Analytics on your Squarespace site to get the other aspect of that information. It's just one little bit, but not all of the information you can get from Google. So please install Google. I think it goes by G4 now. G4 is what we're using. Yeah. Okay, cool.
GA4. Yeah, Google Analytics 4. That's essentially what it is. But yeah, setting up this, and even if you don't want to look at it right now, even if you're just like, Mariah, I literally am allergic to analytics, I don't want to look at it, just set it up.
Have the data for when you do need it, when you are ready.
When you need it, and then Also, if you ever decide to move off of the Squarespace platform, now you still have your website analytics too.
Yeah, definitely a good point. All right, cool. So let's move on to mistake number 2, not understanding keywords and research. I definitely have a unique perspective on this one, but I'd love to hear your hot take here first, Mariah.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of already let the cat out of the bag in terms of like diving into keywords.
You did. We got into seeds and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so basically keywords, like I mentioned, are the piece of the puzzle that connect your website to Google search results. So I'll have clients be like, hey, I want to show up on Google for, we'll use this example that really happened. I had a client and she was like, I want to show up on Google for a powerful speaker. She was a public speaking coach. And I was like, okay, cool. So what we have to do, if you take anything away from this, literally remember this. Before you target a keyword on your website, go to Google and Google it. Go to Google and Google it. We have to see how Google understands this keyword. So my client, powerful speaker, cool. We go to Google, we Google it. Car audio and stereo speakers show up.
Oh, okay.
So my client was never going to show up in search results for that. If we didn't, this is why user intent matters. Because when people are typing in powerful speaker, that's what Google thinks that they're looking for based on how people So what you have to do is kind of go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, well, what would somebody type in order to find me and the solutions that I offer? So I think we ended up targeting like either become a powerful speaker or like public speaking coach, like being very, very, very literal. I know that some people want to get really cute and really fun and really creative with your keywords, but like we have to come back into like what solutions are you solving and what keywords are people typing in order to find you. And even if somebody was typing in powerful speaker in order to find a public speaking coach, they're going to be hit with the same exact results and have to come back to the drawing board as well. So if we didn't look into that, my client would probably be mad at me. She would be like, Mariah, like SEO doesn't work. It's awful. It's the worst thing ever.
I'm getting a request for stereos, right?
Yeah, like I'm not showing up on page 1 for powerful speaker. But she was never going to.
I love
that.
And
so that's really, really important to understand with keywords.
Yeah, I know this sounds so silly, but after doing this for like almost a decade of working with websites and consulting people about websites and marketing, the idea of asking your clients to Google the keywords they want to rank for is such a good approach and something I literally have never done, which is so silly because it's such a great idea. You've got to see, is this the right term that people are using? If Google doesn't even think it's related to your services, that means that most people looking at that keyword also don't think it's related to your services. And I wanted to add too, for anyone that's watching this who's aware of my content and my tutorials, the reason that you have found my content is because I don't use the actual terms to define what it is. I use the terms that you're going to use. And my favorite example is talking about changing the color of a button on a hover. That's like my favorite CSS code, the first one I ever made. And my tutorial about this tells you how to change the color of a button on a hover. But what I don't say is how to adjust the background color on a pseudo state for a primary button in Squarespace. Nobody's going to Google that. You're going to Google.
I didn't even know that that's how you phrase it.
That's totally what you're doing. You're adjusting the background property of a pseudo state of a button element on a Squarespace website. Nobody's going to Google that. That's not the term that you're searching for. So using the right keywords is just so important. Understanding your audience. But number one pro tip, if you take anything away from this today, Google the word that you're trying to rank for to make sure it's the right term. Yep.
Yes.
All right.
What a great example.
On to mistake number 3 here. Not customizing titles and descriptions.
Okay, so SEO titles and meta descriptions, they're pieces of metadata that show up in Google search results when people are looking for things. So when you don't customize these SEO titles and meta descriptions, with which Squarespace has like a specific area in the back end of the website where you can customize these. Your SEO title and meta description does not show up on the front end of your website. It only shows in like the code so that the Google bots can crawl it. And so when you don't customize these, the website, like Squarespace will put in like placeholders or like variables, and it's usually like your page name plus your site name for the SEO title. Well, sometimes that doesn't have the target keyword in there. And this SEO title and meta description are two pieces that the Googlebots look at for context clues about like, what is the main idea of this page? Because there's no way to just tap Google on the shoulder and be like, hey, this is my target keyword. There used to be, but as marketers, we ruined it. And now Google no longer trusts that. And so now Google is like, okay, prove it. And prove it means put the target keyword or the phrase that you want to show up for, use it in your content. And so use it in your content, put it in your metadata, put it in your SEO title and your meta description. And so the meta description is like that little like gray text in Google search results that kind of gives people an understanding of what this page is. And if you use the keyword that they typed into Google, the meta description, that word will actually bold in the meta description. So that's a visual clue for users like, oh, this might be the perfect solution that I'm looking for. So customizing the SEO titles and meta descriptions, it's about how we get users from the Google search over to your website, because a lot of people obsess about getting on page one. And listen, super important, but that's not the end all be all goal of SEO. It's to get people from page one over to your website. And the only way to do that is to customize this metadata to make it honest, enticing, and have your keyword in there.
And I love this bold feature too, because that'll just make it pop on the screen. After we put this presentation together yesterday, everyone who's watching, we were working on this a little bit yesterday, and I realized I have little tiny individual random tutorials about SEO titles and descriptions for pages and for like a video and all that kind of stuff. I put them all together in one YouTube video. I'll publish it on my channel later today, and I'll include a link in the description as well. If you're subscribed to me on YouTube, you'll get a notification. But when it comes to customizing titles and descriptions in Squarespace, I got a tutorial for you, my friends. We're going to throw that one here in the description later today, so stick around for that. All right, let's move on here. We've covered the common SEO mistakes, and I want to make sure that people walk away from this workshop with some actionable information. While this was super helpful and now they know these are the mistakes that they can avoid, let's talk about what they can do today. What can they do right now to help improve their SEO?
Yeah, for sure. So listen, this might seem very, very simple, but number one is sign up for Google Analytics and Google Search Console. It is not enough for you to hear me spew about these things. We need you to sign up for them. So I don't know if Becca has a tutorial on her channel for these things, but if she doesn't, I have a tutorial on my channel for these things too. So my channel, Mariah Magazine, you can go ahead and search YouTube. I have tutorials for setting up Google Analytics and for setting up Google Search Console. Setting up Google Search Console is really easy once you have Google Analytics, and then you can also connect it to the back end of your Squarespace too. So all of that, set it up. It will take you maybe 8 minutes, maybe. So we can definitely do that today. Awesome. And then the second thing, after you sign up for Google Search Console, you have to submit your sitemap. And you're probably thinking, this is already technical, this is already overwhelming. I thought you were good at making this thing like not sound super techy, but bear with me here. So the sitemap is essentially, it's like the roadmap of your content and the roadmap of your website structure created in a way that Google bots understand. You don't have to understand it. Google bots have to understand it. Okay. And so usually in order to find your sitemap, especially for Squarespace websites, it's usually your domain name .com/sitemap.xml.
And that's exactly what it is for Squarespace. Squarespace automatically creates this for you. The sitemap is literally just a list of those URLs, and Squarespace does it for you. So just like Mariah just said, your domain /sitemap.xml. That's what it is for Squarespace.
And so test it out before you submit it to Google. So open up a new tab, literally put in your domain name /sitemap.xml. Make sure that it populates. And by populates, I mean, make sure that it has more than 3 lines. Okay. If it only has 3 lines, and I have to say your website has to be live and not blocked by like a password protected page in order for us to be able to see this. So test it. If it has only 3 lines on it and it doesn't look like it's populated, go into Squarespace and message their chat people, their help, their customer service, and basically say, hey, I don't think that my sitemap was generated. They can do it in literally, and listen, I'm not trying to hold them to this, but it usually takes around 5 to 10 minutes. They can regenerate your sitemap for you, and that usually works like that. I've just seen it happen quite a few times when you're setting up a Squarespace website. Technology glitches sometimes. It's not a big deal, but we can just slide into the customer support. They're really awesome with this. I've done it for clients.
Totally agree. So, their live chat's so responsive. So I'm glad you recommended their live chat. That's what I recommend too. Yeah.
Truly, like they're wildly helpful with this stuff. So once it's populated, basically you take that URL and you go into Google Search Console and you submit your sitemap. So if you need a walkthrough of that, I also have a video that walks you through that on your channel, because just like Becca, and this is why we're friends, queen of tutorials over here. We do different tutorials, but like tutorials are basically like our thing.
Absolutely.
And so that's the second thing to do. And then the third thing is to schedule time for your SEO strategy. SEO is one of those things, it builds momentum over time. In order to get started and to get results down the line, we have to start now. And I know hearing that, you're just like annoyed by it, because it's like, well, I don't get to see results right away. But it's organic, it's free, it's not like running ads. And it's the same thing with like Instagram and social media. You can't start an Instagram profile and then literally in 3 days have a wild successful account. Like, it takes time in order to build these things. And so start now so that that momentum can start building for you.
Absolutely. I gave this its entirely separate slide because I could not only, I feel like saying agree with you is ridiculous because this is a fact. Like, I'm agreeing with your fact, Mariah. I know from experience that SEO does not happen overnight. So we needed to give this its own entire slide. You need to set aside time to truly work on your SEO. Yes, there are things you can do today, but there are things that you need to do tomorrow and things that you can do next week and things that you can do a month from now. Now, I'm not saying this needs to become your full-time job. Mariah is the SEO expert who can help us with this information. She's done the research. She's done the work. She's worked on websites to make this magic happen. So you don't have to spend time turning it into your full-time job. Like your research to discover SEO strategies that work for Squarespace, that's not your job. Implementing the strategies, that's your job, Squarespace, or that's what you need to set aside time to do. So we have a couple more slides here about more information because we have just touched the tip of the iceberg here. Like, this is the start of all the SEO stuff that's happening out there, but we've got a couple more slides about more information that you can do, or more information about what you should do to help improve the SEO in the long run. Because again, this doesn't happen overnight. I just got to pull this slide one more time. All right, on to the more you can do. Fill us in on this, Mariah. What are some of the next steps here?
Okay, so when we're talking about like creating time to focus on your SEO strategy, it's basically we have to start with keyword research because your entire SEO strategy kind of comes down to the keywords, because the keywords are the piece of the puzzle, yet again, that connect your website with Google search results. And even if like, okay, so we'll talk about the elephant in the room too, AI, right? Like AI also, like people are using AI to search things sometimes. And so people are like, okay, well, is SEO dying then? It's not, because how is AI finding information in order to tell you? It's still all keywords. Like, regardless, even if Google goes away tomorrow, even if all of these things go away tomorrow, there's going to be some kind of database on the website that in order to search through it, filter through it, sift through it, you're going to need to understand keywords. That's why I think like keyword research strategy, whether it's Google, whether it's YouTube, whether it's like you want to get pulled in like the AI generated searches in Google or anything like that, even like if you're searching Reddit, if you're on Instagram, hashtags are keywords. Like, understanding keywords and taking time to figure out what your people could potentially be typing in is a wildly beneficial skill that works across the board. On Amazon, if you want to sell products, on eBay, if you want to like thrift and flip, keywords are so important. So definitely start there. And then content optimization techniques. So yeah, Squarespace has a lot of really good built-in features to help you do this. And so it's basically putting your keywords in the right places so that Google and the Google bots and pick up on context clues about what this page is so that you could be put in the right section of the filing cabinet. And then the free tools to help you improve, because not all programs have good info. So it really, I have a certain list of tools that I completely love and use all of the time, starting with Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and Google Business Profile. Those are 3 free tools created by Google to literally help your website get found and like drive more traffic to it.
Yep, I love it. These are such good pieces of advice. And I still am pulling back to that keyword strategy you talked about actually Googling the terms you want to represent for. But again, there is so much that you can do. So we have some actionable tips that you can do right now. But one of them, the key one, I'm going to go back a couple of slides here because I love it, was scheduling time for your SEO strategy. I think this is super important. But there's so many different nuances and content optimization techniques that are specific for Squarespace. Now, last year, I taught 2 different SEO workshops that were for the Squarespace aspect of it, but so much has changed in the entire just sphere of search engine optimization, not just for Squarespace itself, but the strategy of SEO, again, with this interface of AI becoming more and more prevalent, that I decided to take a step back this year, but I wanted to make sure that all of the people in my audience still had access to the most up-to-date information. I'm no longer the expert to teach this information, but Mariah is. So I wanted to talk about the training that you're doing next month to make sure that Squarespacers were aware that they can get this more up-to-date information from you, the expert, because I'm going to step back as the Squarespace expert, no longer considering myself the SEO expert anymore. So tell us about the training that you're doing specifically for Squarespacers, Mariah.
Yeah, so I'm hosting a Squarespace SEO workshop on July 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And so basically during that time, I'm going to break down how to do keyword research. And so here's the thing. A lot of people don't want to tell you, not including you, like you're very good at being transparent about these things, but like a lot of people in my industry don't really want to tell you how to do things. They kind of just want to tell you what to do, or they might not be really good educators at breaking things down, or they might not really like Q&As, you know what I mean? And so I feel like I'm just in a really unique position where Q&As are literally my favorite thing on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
B, I don't have an SEO agency. So like my services, I don't have retainer services where it's like I'm always available to do SEO for you. There are amazing SEO agencies out there. I'm not that person. I'm the consultant and the educator. So in my workshops, I'm literally not just telling you what to do, I'm showing you how to do it. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do specifically on your Squarespace website. Starting with keyword research, we're going to talk about like the basics of SEO again, and then diving into the Google tools, I'll show examples of like the dashboards and stuff like that so you can kind of familiarize with that stuff. Because like also, sign up for Google Analytics sounds awful, but when I share my screen and I'm like, yo, literally like look at this data that we can look at, you're gonna be like, okay, you might have sold me on it. And so like taking your hand and walking you through these things, pointing out the features and showing you like how do we customize the SEO title and like tips along the way, like what the heck do we even put in there? That's what I'm going to walk you through.
I love it.
So I'm super excited for this training. I've been getting questions about like specifically Squarespace SEO for a really long time, and like connecting with you and Phil and Promise, who are really in the Squarespace world. It just made sense for me to come in and be like, hey, I've been working on Squarespace websites for 5-6 years now, and it's like, let me show you how to do it. That's the whole thing, is like, even with my clients, I never want them to need me forever. I'm like, I'm here to consult, but I'm also here to educate.
Yes.
Because like I said, SEO, it's about infusing SEO friendly habits into the things that you're already doing. And if you can just carve out, so that workshop is going to be 90 minutes. If you can carve that out, you're just going to be starting at so much of a higher like perspective and playing field than if you had to like start off with Google and like your Google and SEO and all of that stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing that I want to highlight too that you mentioned is the way that you present this information. I found your educational style very similar to mine, which is why I really want to make sure my audience understands that they're in good hands with you. The way that you teach information is very similar to what I do. I'm not going to tell you to go to Squarespace and add this code. I'm going to say, go to Squarespace, select website, website tools, custom CSS, change this value to do this. Like, you don't just say, hey, do the thing. thing. You're like, no, literally, let's click together and let's do the thing together. So you will get concrete, comprehensive education on how to apply these SEO techniques to your specific site. But also, Mariah, that Q&A aspect, I want to make sure that all of my audience members will get the individualized attention that they need. Because as we know, Squarespacers are in all kinds of different industries. I teach specific things about computer code languages, and I'm not going to be able to take information that you would give to a bakery and use it for my own website, right? But I want to make sure that the bakery is able to represent themselves in Google business listings and have the right terms optimized in their titles, while the fitness trainer or the TikTok marketing expert is going to be able to create their video collection and have that optimized as well. Like, we need to have some specifics here, and that's why I love that you're doing the Q&A and the real workshop aspect of an actual workshop. It's not just going to be you talking, it's going to be you teaching, and I love it so much. So anyone who's interested in joining this, we have a special link here, insidethesquare.co/SEO. Mariah has graciously given us a 20% discount if you use the Inside the Square fans here. So use that specific link, insidethesquare.co/SEO, for her 90-minute workshop. But speaking of minutes here, we need to do a quick recap and head to Q&A. We're going to have to call this. We're getting close to our time here. So let's recap really quick. Overview of SEO in 2024, common mistakes, what you can do today, and where to learn more. You want to do the 4-minute recap for 4 things?
All right, so overview of SEO in 2024. Basically, understand your keywords and understand what people are looking for when they're typing in those keywords. If you take one thing away from this, besides setting up Google Analytics and Google Search Console, please go to Google and Google the keyword before you target it. Yes. Common SEO mistakes. We have to set up Google Analytics and Google Search Console. You would think that I'm like paid by them, by how much I'm literally like hammering this in. Right. But like, for real, even if you don't want to look at the data, just set it up. Please, you are like 6 months from now, 12 months from now, if you end up working with somebody on a website redesign or working with an SEO consultant or expert like me, now we have some data to go off of. Mm-hmm. What you can do today, after you set up Google Analytics and Google Search Console, submit that sitemap, that roadmap, so that Google can better understand your website, and so you can more easily show up in the filing cabinet. Yes. And where to learn more is sign up for the Squarespace SEO workshop, which is going to be a 90-minute live workshop with me July 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Use the code Inside the Square on the sales page at checkout for 20% off of the ticket price.
Yep, insidethesquare.co/SEO. Go check it out. And I already have a few questions here in the Q&A, so let's move into a Q&A time. Feel free to hop into the chat here. We've got 3 questions already. Feel free to grab any more. I'm going to moderate that chat for us. But one of the first questions here probably has to do with our slide, the genuine, like, only sentence on here slide that said SEO strategies do not work overnight. How long does it take to see results from SEO?
It depends. And I know that it's not the sexiest answer. Everybody's like, come on, girl, give me something. Okay, so it depends on where you're starting. Okay. So if you're already in the filing cabinet for the correct keywords, then the thing that usually takes the most time is moving from pages. Mm-hmm. So it's moving from page 5 to page 1, from page 3 to page 1. It's that process that usually takes the most time. Okay. It can take 6 months. It really depends on how competitive the keyword is that you're trying to target, because what it takes to show up on page 1 is a keyword by keyword basis, because it depends on how competitive the keyword is. Mm-hmm. But if you're not being found in the filing cabinet for literally like anything, like before I started focusing on SEO, I was being found in the filing cabinet for the keyword, what does the name Mariah mean? Because Mariah was just all over my website, and Google was like, we don't know where else to put this girl to organize the internet. So
I love it. I'm sure that brought you so many clients, right?
It literally like filled up my books. No, it did not. Okay, so if you're not being associated with the right phrases, then doing keyword research and putting your keywords in specific places, depending on the competition, I have been able to get my clients like in the filing cabinet, sometimes even on page 1 within 4 weeks.
Okay, 4 weeks.
So it depends.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good example there, though. It's like it really depends on where you're starting, and also, the competition that's out there. That is a very good aspect to add. The website I'm redesigning for a client of mine, a friend of mine, is they have a restaurant in Portland, and they're trying to rank for brunch Portland. I'm like, okay, you're going to be competing with every top 10 list out there, every article that's been written about brunches in Portland. Are we getting neighborhood specific here? Like, we've got a lot of competition for that word. I don't think they're going to get results in 4 weeks, Mariah. I think it's going to take a little bit longer for that. Whereas for someone who doesn't have a lot of competition, who is just getting started, and who spends the time to optimize their content, to really dig into this, they can probably rank within a month or two. We can give it that timeline there. Yeah. All right. So
So really quick. So basically, like also for that example, once you put the keyword on the website, what you can also do, if you have Google Search Console set up, you can see where is Google putting you. Ooh. So you might not show up for brunch Portland, but you might show up for best Mediterranean brunch Portland. And you're like, I'm on page 2, I can get on page 1.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And are you going to cover that kind of stuff in the workshop, like digging into console itself? I'm assuming that's going to be a part of the workshop, taking a look at it?
If we have time to dig into the nitty gritty, if people have questions on it during the Q&A, so come to the Q&A.
Come to the
Literally
Q&A.
ask me this question, and then yes, I will.
I love it. Because that's the great part about doing live workshops. You can really tailor it to the questions that are being asked, which brings me to the next question here. Do you have to have a blog to have good SEO?
You don't need a blog in order to rank on Google.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Definitive answer. You do not need one to rank on Google.
Because like what I said before, service-based business owners, local, like your Google business profile, that stuff can show up on page 1. Your services pages, like photography, like your wedding photography packages, your engagement photography packages, like those pages are a service that people are searching for on Google. It's not actually a blog.
Okay.
What a blog is really good for is for giving Google, targeting more keywords so that we can multiply the doors that Google can drive traffic to our site from.
Okay.
And it helps Google get more context about like, what are you an expert in? Because Google wants to showcase the best solution to the problem on page 1. How does Google know if you're the best solution to the problem? It takes a look at your entire website. What are you an expert in? What topics are you talking about? Like if somebody who has, let's say, a bicycle shop or a bicycle blog, they learned about SEO and now they create a blog post about like best SEO tips for small business owners. They're probably not going to show up on page 1 for that because their entire website was about mountain biking, finding the best tires for your bike. And so Google really wants to highlight like authority type websites, and so how to build that is like giving Google more context clues to kind of play with.
Interesting. Okay, so really staying in your niche is where the magic happens when it comes to long-term engaged optimization here, making sure that you really focus on the core concepts that you want to relay to your audience, what you really want to rank for. Oh, that's exciting
Topical
stuff.
authority, baby.
Topical authority. I love it. Okay, we've got time for one more question here, and I love this one, so I highlighted it. How many keywords can you target on one page? And I'm going to assume that by keywords, they mean those key phrases that we were talking about. Like obviously keyword is more than one literal word. So how many key phrases can we target on one page in our Squarespace website?
Okay, everybody hates me because it depends. It depends. And so I usually say, think about it like a pyramid.
Okay.
We'll usually have one target keyword because remember, we have to give the Googlebots context clues about what this page is about so that it can put it in Google's filing cabinet.
Okay.
How we do that is putting a keyword in specific places that the Googlebots are going to look for.
Okay.
Your page would be wildly spammy if you were trying to optimize for numerous key phrases.
Right. That makes sense.
And so that way we think about it like a triangle where we have like one top dog, one main priority keyword that we're for sure trying to get in a bunch of places.
Okay.
Then on the bottom, we have secondary keywords. Think of secondary keywords as like synonyms, different ways to word things. So like SEO strategist in Buffalo, New York is the same as SEO strategist Buffalo, New York, or SEO strategist Buffalo, or maybe organic SEO strategist or organic SEO strategist Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
All of those are synonyms of each other, and one page can show up for all of them because this page is the perfect solution to the problem when we're talking about this topic. So how many keywords depends on how many synonyms and like what you're talking about. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think we can tie this all the way back to one of the first things you talked about when we started this whole presentation here, was talking about having the actual solution to a problem. So trying to figure out what you're trying to solve with that piece of content. Maybe we can take this question of how many keywords can you target on one page to reframe it and be like, what's the solution this page is offering? What is the problem this page is solving, and what's the solution that you're offering? I think that's what you should focus on identifying, rather than focusing on how many key phrases can I add to a page or optimize a page for.
Yeah, and remember, if you have Google Search Console set up, you'll be able to see this.
Yes.
Google will tell you. Like, people think that you have to pay for a super expensive SEO tool in order to see what you're ranking for. You don't. You just need Google Search Console.
Just need Search Console. I love it. All right, Mariah, we are about out of time here, but for the rest of you who have questions that haven't popped them in the chat yet, you want some of that support, but you want to learn more specifically about the strategies that you can use for Squarespace, as well as how to use the tools to get the information you need to continue this ongoing process of SEO, check out Mariah's workshop at insidethesquare.co/SEO. I'm probably going to be there with you. Hopefully I can show up live. I'm trying to rearrange my calendar here because I think I need a little bit of a boost here for some of the content that I've been working on for Inside the Square, but also for my clients. I've never built a restaurant website before, and I need some tips here on what to do for a local business. So I'm excited for you to walk me through the tools that I can use to truly optimize the Squarespace website for a brunch spot in Portland. So I'm really excited to get your advice on that, Mariah. And a huge thank you for joining me here live on my channel today. Thank you for unveiling all of these secrets for my audience and really getting into the details with us. I appreciate your time and your expertise. I got a few thank yous rolling through in the chat here, so thank you so much. And I will be pulling this recording down to update that audio. Hopefully we can fix the audio in the beginning when you were really quiet, but it will be here on my channel. We'll update the description to have links to the tutorials we mentioned on your YouTube channel, the tutorials we mentioned on my YouTube channel, and a link to sign up for this workshop. Remember, friends, it's July 8th. Let's click back through to that date here.
11th.
July 11th. Why did I say 8th? I'm so sorry. July 11th. Head on over to insidethesquare.co/SEO. July 11th. I'm going to be in there with you, and we're going to learn so much from her. So quite a few thank yous rolling in. Virtual 5, Mariah, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, this was so great. All right, Squarespacers, we're going to call this a wrap. Thanks for joining us. And most importantly, friends, the number one thing to take away from this workshop, have fun with your Squarespace website. Bye for now.